All right, today, the First Lady Melania Trump traveled to 2 military bases and a Navy aircraft carrier to meet our troops, thank them for their service this holiday season. Today, during her tour of the USS George H.W. Bush, well, I had the chance to sit down with the First Lady. And why this is important, because while we're enjoying Christmas, many of them won't be with their families. Take a listen. Madam First Lady, thank you so much for doing this. So you said before you came here, and I watched you with all these troops today, you said that this is about our troops, our families who sacrifice daily for our freedoms, our hearts, our prayers, with all of our deployed soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines who will not be home for Christmas. And so you decided to do this trip. Tell me more about that.
Well, I wanted to come and visit military families and also the servicemen and women. It's very important that we support them. Holidays are coming, not many of them, they will be with their families. So for me it's very important to show them that the President and I and the country, we are behind them.
You know what's amazing? So we're on the USS George H.W. Bush, who recently passed away. They put as many as 5,000 people on this ship. I was watching you as you were watching the planes, the jets come in and out. If we tipped it over, it would be the size of the Empire State Building. What do you think when you see this? It's
incredible. Even when I flew over here, you see the ship, it's very small, and then you're approaching and it's really big. And it was great to meet some of them who serve here. Now today there are 3,000 servicemen and women on it right now. And I saw the airplanes taking off and landing, and it's incredible what they do.
The cost of freedom is high, very high. We forget sometimes, don't we?
Correct.
Yeah. I watched you as you worked the rope line, as you spoke with the families. It seemed to me that they cling to you and they want to send you messages. What are they saying to you?
Just they thanking me for the service, that what I do for them, and I thank them for the service. I guess I see that we have incredible support out there, and they see what I'm doing and that I'm here for them and to support them.
Yeah. Let me ask, so I would say, I told a lot of people I was going to be interviewing you, there is a curiosity about you. I don't know how you take that, but I think a lot of people know your husband who's so outspoken, and you've been behind the scenes, but you're making it out more. You went on your trip, you went to what, Nigeria, Ghana, Malawi, Egypt?
Yes, I went to the 4 countries. I started with Ghana and Malawi, Kenya, and Egypt. I did a 5-day trip in Africa on all those 4 countries. It was an amazing trip, and they were very happy I came there. And I worked with the USAID, so we are helping them to become self-reliant.
Yeah. I noticed in interviews, one of the things you often say, that first you defined yourself in the ABC interview. I thought it was a really interesting question. As a mom, a wife, as the First Lady of the United States, as a friend, and then you talked about that you're confident, you're very focused, and you use the term, stay true to myself. You use that term a lot. And I want you to expand on that. What does that mean, considering, and I'll ask you about your roots a little bit, but that stuck out to me.
I do what I think it's right. I know I will get the criticism from the public or from the media, but I will do what is right and what I feel it's right for the country and for the people. And that's what I say. I want to stay true to myself and listen myself and what to do and what is right, what is wrong, and live meaningful life every day.
You talked about that this is temporary. You see it as temporary. Would you want to stay for a second term?
I think my husband, he's doing an incredible job. The country does best ever. So yes, I think I want that the country continue to do well.
You come from a small town in Slovenia, and I don't think you've talked a lot publicly about your journey from that small town to Paris, to all these major cities, from there to New York City. Tell us about that journey. Were your parents with you? Were you a model and alone? What was it?
After my studies, I went to the modeling business. And I lived in Milan and Paris, and in 1996 I moved to New York. And then my career, I loved it, and I stayed in New York, and here we are today.
It's interesting because you're now traveling, but you end up in the biggest city, and you told the story about how you met the president. When did you know that he was the one? Was there a moment?
We had a great chemistry when we met in 1998, and we started dating, and we dated for a long time before we got married, and we got married. We had a son, but we had a great chemistry from the day one.
Yeah. Was there a moment that you realized, wow, small town Slovenia, now I'm the First Lady of the United States and I'm living in the White House? Was there a moment that you realized this is real?
It's incredible, especially when you think about it, your life, where you were born, and all the steps you took. I took a lot of steps. It's not just like you end up here. You learn a lot on the way here. And in my business, in fashion business, it's a tough business as well. And here the politics is as well. It's a tough business, and you need to have very thick skin.
Yeah. What's been the hardest for you since you become First Lady? What's been the hardest thing that you have to deal with?
I would say the opportunists who are using my name or my family name to advance themselves, from comedians to journalists to performers, book writers.
Does it hurt?
It doesn't hurt. The problem is they're writing the history, and it's not correct.
And especially when there's speculation about you and your family and your marriage, and you've addressed that in past interviews?
Yes, I did. And they like to focus on the gossip, and I would like to that they focus on the substance and what we do, not just about nonsense.
What was it you said if he ran, you knew he would win? Why did you know?
I told him, if you run, because I knew him, I knew how he connects with the people. He built an incredible business, and his mind is into the business and to make America great and successful. So I saw how he connects with the people. So that's why I said, if you run, you will win, and it's a possibility.
I know people want to know this. Do you often weigh in on the issues of the day with the president? I know you do watch a lot of news. You're very aware of what's going on. What do you think in terms of, insight could you give us, maybe a better way to ask it, as to how, when you feel strongly about something, that you would relay that to him?
I wish to have time to watch more news, but I don't.
You don't?
And
I hope you watch Hannity.
I'm very busy with my office and traveling and doing my work. Yes, I watch you, and I sometimes also tape the shows, and if I have time, I watch it. But I know exactly what's going on. I follow what's going on, and I give my husband advice and my honest opinion. And sometimes he listens, and sometimes he doesn't. If
I look at the two of you, and I know the two of you pretty well, I've known him for a very long time, I don't think they could be two different styles. He fights, he's combative. You've discussed the issues of tweeting and social media, and you've even said you've asked him to tone it down a little bit. How does that go over?
Well, we could see it.
Meaning it's not working, okay.
I don't agree with his tone sometimes, and I tell him that. So, as I said before, sometimes he listens, sometimes he doesn't. Have you ever stopped him,
like he was going to say something and you said?
I said to him, I don't think you need to tweet that out. But on the end, it's his decision. He knows the consequences. He's an adult, and but he's a fighter. He's the fighter.
It's interesting because you saw the exchange, I assume, yesterday with him and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. And I gave my commentary on it. I said, that's what America elected.
Correct.
Somebody that fights hard for promises.
Correct.
What would you want America to know about him behind the scenes that maybe they don't see or know, that maybe the media would never portray about him?
That he's fighting for the America and American people every day. Every day. He wants to govern the right way, and sometimes it's tough because you could see that media wants to bash and focus on negativity.
And we have an amazing part 2 of the interview with our First Lady that'll air tomorrow night.